I'm Christine Cushing, and welcome to another helping of my favorite foods. Today, I want to share with you a lamb shank that is the best I have ever made with a rich, delicious sauce. It's succulent. It's so irresistible. It's so tender. You're gonna lose it. Let's go. First thing I want to show you is my lamb shank. I'm starting with 4 pieces, roughly 350 grams each, about 12 ounces. And you'll see here that the color of the meat is a light pink. That's very essential because when your lamb is a dark color, you're actually going closer to mutton, and in fact, most times it is. So here I want to share with you a technique. I've got 2 garlic cloves that I cut into slivers, and that's going to serve a very interesting purpose. I'm adding to that some sea salt, as well as a little bit of cracked black pepper, and in the bowl I already have some freshly chopped thyme. I'm just going to blend that together, just toss it so that it's nice and blended, all the seasoning. And to that, I'm going to add a little spice. So here is some already ground and toasted cumin, as well as some cracked coriander seeds. So I'm going to combine those together. Full recipe is below the description, so you're going to find it all there. Just make sure I toss this together. And I'm going to add half of those spices to the garlic mixture. Again, tossing, just to blend it all through. Then what I do is I'm going to take a paring knife and I'm going to insert it into either end along the bone. Be very careful with my knife here. You want to make sure that you have it flat. And then along the bone, you make a little incision and put in the garlic cloves. Flip it around and do the same to the back. Again, making sure you keep your hands away. So I don't want to slit through the meat so that it breaks off during cooking. I just want to insert it parallel to the bone, okay? That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to repeat with the other 3 shanks so that they're all the same. And then I'm going to season generously with some sea salt or kosher salt, making sure to do it evenly on all sides. But when I say generously, don't want to oversalt it. A little bit of cracked black. Again, making sure it's even on all sides. This is so exciting. This dish is going to blow you away. It is so delicious. So I'm getting a pan, a braising cast iron pan, heating, high heat, medium high actually, some olive oil. And when it starts to sear like this, that's a good sign. I'm going to put in my shanks. And this is a perfect size for 4 of them. You see that they're kind of nestled nicely there. There's the 4th one. And this is a perfect size pan for 4 shanks. You don't want to crowd it, otherwise they'll just steam. And this will take about 5 to 7 minutes, really depending on your pan. I want to get that nice golden color all around. You see that? I just sort of toss them here until, I've got even coloring on all sides. Making sure that I check the heat as I go. You can see here it's hot, but I don't want anything to burn. I don't want any charring. But because I have some space there, I'm actually throwing in my shallots, and these are 4 shallots quartered. The quartering is really important because they're going to render down in the sauce afterwards. See that color? Sometimes I just stand them up just to get that even coloring all around. Now I'm making sure that I turn my heat off. Removing the shanks. This dish is all really about the details. There's so many little details that make it great. And because this cast iron pan really is going to hold on to that heat, you can see here the heat is off, but you can still hear the sizzle. Now I'm going to add the remaining garlic mixture that had this seasoning in it, and a little bit of flour. This is about 1.5 tablespoons, not more than that. And I'm going to create a little roux. Essentially, that flour is going to pick up any fat in the pan. And you're going to get just a little sheen in the sauce. This is not an old school thick sauce. No. This is just going to give it a little finesse. Then I add some chicken stock. And basically, it's kind of a little velouté, what this is called. Little chicken stock, breaking the roux up until we get this nice creamy base. Again, keeping in mind that it's off the heat now. I don't want the heat on. Making sure I scrape all those little bits, because that's a lot of flavor there. So now I'm not going to get any lumps. Little tomato paste is going to give me color. Again, some body and texture, and a little bit of sweetness and some acidity. Here's my secret ingredient. Look at this. 4 whole dates, finely chopped. If they're medium size, about 3 of them. And now the red wine. It's so important to use a great red wine here. And I don't mean $100 bottle of great red wine, but good quality. This is a southern French Cote de Rhone. It's got body. It's got a 14.5% alcohol. So it's a heavy hitter because I want to always match what's happening with my wine with whatever is being cooked. So the wine has to be as strong as the lamb. Now I'm adding some chicken stock, a little more. And this is now a balancing act. I want to get those flavors right. Okay, introduce this ingredient, elixir. This is some pomegranate molasses. It's actually going to add more tang and a little bit of a bitter note more than sweetness. Super concentrated. Can you tell I'm excited about the pomegranate molasses? Love it. Okay, making sure I get all those little bits out. Can you just start to imagine the flavor of what's happening here? It's crazy. Put my shanks back in. 4 of them. And you see how the liquid just comes out about 1/3 of the way up? So you might have to adjust it depending on your pan size. I'm adding 1 dried chili. You could do a little less, but this was the perfect amount of heat, I thought. Then the rest of the coriander and cumin that I added before inside, sprinkling it on top. Again, this is balancing all the flavors and keeping it just even. The rest of the freshly chopped thyme. I want some on top as well as some that was already inside. You see that I have it at a gentle simmer. That's really starting to bring it up to a simmer. A bay leaf, always great, is going to give really dimension to the sauce. And a cinnamon stick. Yes, the red wine, cinnamon stick is really going to, again, enhance that pepperiness, really give it a sweet, round flavor. Oh, and it's time for a lemon. You knew it was coming. I saved it for last. But here I'm using my zester, so I want to get nice big ribbons of zest. Oh, mama. Look at this lemon. But I'm not adding the juice, just the zest. Okay, I'm getting a bit fussy here. I'm just trying to even that out because I'm not going to mess with it anymore. It's seasoned, it's spiced, it's nice. And now I'm going to give it just a little shimmy. My oven is preheating at 325 still. Put a lid on it. It's going in there for half an hour, and then I'm turning it down to 300. After an hour and a half, who's ready for a lamb facial? Do you see that gentle bubbling? That's the temperature I want. I'm going to give it a baste. Look what's happening. Do you see it? Ridiculous. Just a little sheen in that sauce from the flour. And I'm going to braise it for about another hour or so. Who's ready? Da-da-da! Look at that! Okay, look at those shallots have melted down. The sauce is super thick. I'm serving it here over a little bit of couscous. You could do orzo, you could do mashed potatoes, whatever you like. Incoming with the sauce. Can you believe it? Look at the sheen, texture, those dates, the shallots. Little fresh mint, just for some freshness and a little visual appeal. Come on. Who does not want to just use your fork and get in there? You're going to lose it. It's really the best lamb shank I've ever cooked in my life. Look at this. Beautiful, tender. But you see how the piece is holding together. It shouldn't be all falling all apart. It's tender, but it's not totally falling apart. Look at that. Oh, the flavor, the balance of that beautiful, rich red wine and the spices. It's pure harmony. You want in? You want to taste a piece? Oh, you want it. I know you do. Thanks for joining me on another helping of my favorite foods. You want to make this lamb, seriously. And don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you.